Hello, I'm Paul from Paul Ranson Art. If you've been sitting there tearing your hair out looking at a painting that needs a little bit of extra something, then let me show you how to enhance your finished paintings. I'm going to do the same for this little painting over my shoulder. So sit back and enjoy a cup of tea, maybe a cold drink. Happy painting, people. What's that, stealing my lines? Anyway, back to today's painting. The story behind this painting is it was one that I painted for my mum a while back, and she liked the painting well enough and it hung in the house for quite some time, but she always thought that it was a little bit sort of lacking, and I agree, it just didn't have quite that a little sort of something extra that makes the painting really work. And so she said, could I take it back and make some changes to it? So today's video is how to enhance a finished painting, to go back and add something to it. And I guarantee at some time you'll do a painting which you look at and you think, I like it, but not quite. So what I've done today is I've put in a couple of extra little bits of detail here. In fact, I've added 2 horses to it. I've used some simple software to help me work out the size and the scale and to position them onto the painting before I'm sort of committed too far. Now, I use very simple software to do this, so I think most people should be able to cope with it. And if you want me to do a video on how to use software to help you paint better or to add some enhancements to your painting, then please drop a comment down below. But I'm going to keep it just about painting today. So, once again, enjoy the video. So here's the painting I'm working on. It's called Meadow Walk. I want to add a couple of horses. One on this side. Sorry, Mr. Bird, you'll have to go. And another one over here. I reduced their sizes and printed them on some strips of paper so that I could offer them up to my painting. I made several copies in different sizes, but think these fit quite well. If drawing isn't your strong point, don't worry. Simply rub a pencil on the back of the photograph and then use a biro. I want to just transfer a faint image. I use gentle pressure and just make a slight outline just visible on the oil painting. The graphite will simply be absorbed into the paint. Make sure you don't move things as you trace. Here are my outlines. 2 horses, but I could always add maybe a tractor or some sheep or even a building. My colours are some titanium white, Van Dyke brown and a little bit of dark sienna. I'll be using some Payne's grey as well. I'm using 2 small synthetic brushes for this, one for light and one for dark. I'm going to start off with dark sienna. This is the colour I think is the bulk of the horse's body. I'm using the reference photograph, but remember where the light is coming from. In my painting, it's from the top left, but in the reference photograph, it's from the top right. I'll make sure I change the shadows and the highlights accordingly. I use small amounts of paint, thinned a little with some odourless thinners, to slowly build up the shape and form of the horse. Pay special attention to areas like this, where the neck meets the body. I make sure that I have light against dark and dark against light to give my horse some dimension. This back leg, for instance, is tucked under the body, so I make sure that it's a little darker than the underbelly. Where I can't avoid having 2 dark areas side by side, I leave a little tiny relief of light. If you look at the reference photograph, you can see under the horse's tummy a little tiny fringe of bright light. This is called referred light. In other words, light that bounces back from something else that's bright. In this case, probably the ground. I'm just going to suggest where the eyes are and the nostrils, and just a small amount of detail on this horse's face. I'll let imagination fill in the details that aren't really there. Surprising, isn't it? How much we think is there that really isn't. If you enjoy my tutorials, don't forget to subscribe. Ring the little bell, and that way YouTube will tell you whenever I release a new video. You can also share this with your friends through social media. Thank you. To settle these horses into my painting, I need to think about some shadows. I'm going to use a little bit of Payne's grey. This is a transparent blue-grey colour, and I just want to think about maybe this post being in shadow cast by the horse, and add some additional shadow on the ground. I'll add a little bit of extra Payne's grey to this existing shadow so that they all match. Take time in adding these small details. They can make a big difference to a finished painting. So here's my finished painting, but there's still one area that needs some looking at, and it's right here, directly beneath the horse's nose. The painting on the left, the nose looks like it's attached to the chest, and on the right I added a little extra shadow, and it makes a big difference, lifting the horse's face away from its body. Don't go away, there's another lovely video coming right along. But first, some outtakes. Happy painting, people. Hello, it's Paul from Paul Ranson Art, under a terrible wig. So if you're sitting there and wondering, how can you enhance your finished paintings? This is terrible.